Good morning and welcome to the AutoHub show. Happy Monday to everybody. I know there's a lot of people tuned in, so feel free to question or comment. I'll mix it in when I can. Special thank you to all the guests, and over to you, Peter.
Well, you threw me there, Ian. I thought you were going to introduce the guests first. I'm going to do that.
No problem. So I'm going to introduce Amy from Subaru, Jack Hollis, formerly of Toyota USA. We got Chad Jernberg from Holman Automotive, if you're not familiar, and Anthony Sgrignoli, I think I pronounced that properly, from a small company, Comcast Media. So those are the guests, and over to you, Peter.
Wait, and thank you, Ian, for that nice twist you threw at me this morning. But before we get started, I really do want to just thank our guests. We have got a panel today that is just stellar. It is so exciting to have you on board and sharing all this information today with our guests. And we really do appreciate that. But looking at this incredible panel gets me even more excited because you are all going to be speaking at the upcoming CX Auto 2026 conference hosted by the Thought Leadership Summit that's being put on with the partnership of Automotive News Congress. It's going to be an incredible event. You're going to have CX Auto the first day, the Automotive News Congress the second day, and then it continues on into the third day. It's going to be an event that is fantastic. And what I'm excited about is, as everyone's going to see today, the information that you're going to share is just a prelude, a preview of what they're going to be able to see at the upcoming event. And I'm just so excited to have you here. I'm so excited to be part of the CX Auto 2026 event because unlike other events, this one really focuses on the topics that are important to the dealers and is very beneficial for the future of our industry. So with that being said, thank you all for being here, and everybody hold on tight because it's going to be one phenomenal show today.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Peter. So as tradition states, usually the first person on the show gets to speak first. So in this case, it's Amy. So Amy, if you could introduce yourself and tell us more about what you think the secret to lifetime customer is to, I guess, achieving that.
Thank you, Ian. I noticed laughing not once, but twice. You didn't attempt my last name. So, I got it through marriage. It's not an easy one. So my last name is Sgrignoli. I work for Subaru of America in the connected vehicle team. So the secret to lifetime customers, I would say it's actually quite simple. It's all about treating customers the way you would want to be treated. When we think about customers as people, and especially when we're talking about a purchase or an experience regarding their car, which is such an important part of their existence, whether they're buying that car or servicing that car, I think it's just remembering first and foremost that they're a person and treating them as such. So to me, it's really that simple.
Fantastic. That was very succinct. Chad, I know you got lightning storms where they are, so if Chad drops off, just it's not his fault. It's not. It's weather. So tell us a little bit. I mean, I know Holman does a lot of different things. What do you think is the secret to customer for life, in your opinion?
Sure. So it's a great question. I love actually. Holman, just a quick background for those not familiar. We've been in business for 102 years now.
Wow.
About 65 dealerships around the country and a very large global fleet management business. So the company has their arms in a lot of different spaces, but really centering around automotive. We've kind of put together what we feel are three key ingredients to keeping customers for a lifetime. And it comes down to ease, expertise, and relationships. And those are the foundation of what we call the Holman experience. So we want to be easy to do business with. Don't make customers jump through hoops, make it difficult to reach us. We want to demonstrate our expertise. We've been in the business for a long time. We've run a lot of dealerships. We understand automotive inside and out. Customers who come into a car dealership are intimidated and they want to feel they're working with an expert who's going to guide them through. And then last but perhaps most importantly is relationships. Relationships matter. Those connections that you have, those human connections, are what build trust and keep the customers coming back, wanting to deal with our people and wanting to experience our dealerships over and over. Fantastic.
So Anthony, I know, customers in your case might be dealerships, might be other. What do you think the secret is, from Comcast's point of view on keeping customers for life? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting conversation for us as Comcast. Now I represent the automotive strategy for Comcast advertising. So my job is to manage automotive clients and advertising strategy to help them sell more cars at the end of the day. But Comcast, obviously, customer experience is critical to the entire company. But the way I look at it is, and both Chad and Amy hit on many of the core tenets that we think about. And I kind of boil it down to showing up when things are hard. I think it's so critical for our reps when we go out and talk to dealers. We want to be there when you're having a good month, when we're having a bad month. But how we show up when things are hard is critical. And I think when you build trust during those difficult times, you build long-term relationships. You build all the things that Amy and Chad talked about, and then you're able to work through them. And if you show up with good solutions and the right intent, you can win that customer over again, even though they went through something difficult with you. So those are critical moments. It's kind of boiling it down. But when you can be there for that customer in that moment when they struggled, on the back end, it always works out better.
Thanks for that. Last but not least, the one and only Jack Hollis. Jack, maybe you can tell us more about you, what you do, and what your thinking is on customers for life.
Well, it's Jack Hollis, and I'm now, after an incredible time with Toyota and Lexus and Scion for many years, I now have the opportunity to be a part of a company called Accrual Equity Partners, a private equity firm focused on the automotive space. And this idea of a secret, it should never be a secret. The customer experience or the lifetime experience better not be a secret. And so I'm just going to say that Amy, Anthony, and Chad, I was just going to say ditto, ditto, and ditto. You've covered it. Well, I guess if I was going to add one thing, I would say is that each person matters. Every single person, every single dealer, every single dealership employee, every single customer that comes in, the experience is meant when we treat every single person as the most important person in our life for that moment. For that single moment, that person in front of you is the most important person. And if we can treat people that way, everyone's experience is maximized. And that's what I want to do at Accrual Equity Partners. That's what I want to do with all of you. And I've had experiences with both with Subaru and Holman. I mean, Mindy Holman and Bill Karras. So these are people who live out customer experience and treating people great. Subaru, Anthony, it's great to be a part of this with you. And I think the element is, like you said, and Comcast has been so amazing as an organization. All of you embody it. So it's an honor for me to be with the three of you and talk about with customers.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think there's a famous quote, without customers, there is no business. So clearly,
Amen.
Customers, what is the benefit of great customer experience? And maybe I can start with you, Jack, because you did represent Lexus, and I know it's experience amazing is one of their taglines. Obviously you were there when Lexus was a new brand. What was that like from a customer experience point of view? And did you take anything from what Toyota had done before that?
Lexus has a line in the Lexus covenant. It talks about treating every guest or every customer as a guest in your home. And if you think about that set the foundation. How are you going to treat each person if they come into your home? I would hope to think that if any one of us came to the other person's home, we treat you with the best, sit in the best seats, serve with the best china, serve whatever that might be. What is it for that customer to treat them to the best? And what I learned at Lexus is, number one, and as an OEM, I keep saying, I would say this over and over. Number one, your dealer is your customer and must be treated to the utmost highest respect and give them everything that they need so they can serve the customer to the greatest of their need. And so I think at Lexus, which was great that I learned through the years at Toyota and put towards Lexus, is you start with the foundation of Lexus, or the dealer, I'm sorry, to provide the Lexus experience. So to experience amazing can only be done in conjunction as a partnership between the OEM and the dealer to provide it for the customer. And back to secrets, it's not, I don't want to be a secret but the benefit is the customer feel, they experience it. They don't just have a transaction. And I know one of you said about relationship, I think it was Chad, it's the relationship piece. If you can build a relationship that goes beyond, the benefit is having someone who wants to have a long-term relationship with you, not just a one-time transaction. And
Absolutely.
I think that's the greatest benefit.
Fantastic. Let's go next with Chad. I mean, you guys have been in business 104 years. Obviously, you wouldn't be in business for 104 years by accident. What's the benefit of a great customer experience, and how has that got you to where you are now? I mean,
Sure. Well, it's 102, but it'll be
okay. Sorry.
pretty soon. It was hard to break. This is our 100th year because we were so excited about the celebration.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the benefit of a great customer experience, I mean, it comes down to, I think it's one thing, which is trust. That trust earns so much. If you can show up when you said you were going to show up, deliver what you said you were going to deliver, the trust comes in, whether that's in the F&I box and there's a recommendation being made on vehicle protections, or the car's in for a preventative maintenance. If that customer feels trust, if they feel that Holman is going to stand behind their recommendations, deliver against what they say, your ability to get the yes from the customer and have them return, I mean, to me, that's the biggest key. You've got to build that trust, because without it, I mean, what's the sense in loyalty? People are going to look elsewhere.
Fantastic. So,
Hey, Ian,
yeah, go ahead, Pierre.
while we're talking about trust for a second, because we've got Jack and we've got Amy, both represent brands that have incredible customer loyalty, especially the Lexus brand and that whole trust concept. Maybe they can share a little bit about what, as a corporation, both Subaru and Toyota has done to help build that trust with the consumers, because I think that can be something that we can learn from, because Chad has done a phenomenal job with Holman. I know there's a lot of dealers, but there's a lot of dealers out there that I think are struggling with that customer retention and customer experience. But I really think y'all hit something very important right now about the trust. So maybe they could share how Toyota and Subaru is, what they've done to build that trust.
Well, maybe we could start with Amy, since she's been sitting there waiting. Go ahead, Amy.
No, I think that's a great question. And actually, I think that it actually ties back into some of our comments across the panel about the secret to keeping customers for life. I think it's so important to remember that you have one interaction, and that's an initial interaction. That initial interaction is going to make such an impression on a customer. And then if you can make the right impression, you are given the gift of another interaction, because that's how loyalty starts to build, right? So anybody can have one interaction and make a sale, right? But that's not loyalty. And certainly that doesn't necessarily mean that the person trusted you at all. So I think it's really thinking about the importance of each and every interaction, because it's in those interactions that they're going to feel like, is this person being honest with me? Is this person listening to me? Are they just trying to sell me something? Or are they really doing a true needs analysis for me, what I need in my vehicle? Are they getting to know me? Am I having a conversation with someone that I want to continue to have more conversations with? So I think it's really important to realize that there's a lot going on. We know in retail, we know everywhere it can be chaotic. But when you have that moment with the customer, treat it as the chance of a lifetime, right? You have that one moment, and it can either be one and done, or it can be the beginning of a lifelong relationship with that customer.
Fantastic. Go ahead, sir.
Amy, I was going to follow up on that, but almost sorry to ask you a follow-up question, but Subaru has always been this amazing brand of followers, right? It not only is the loyalty there, but it feels like, as it's happened, it's continued to kind of grow its own kind of unique following, right? There's something in the water. I call it putting it in the water, something in the Subaru water. What is that you would say is happening across new vehicle purchases, used, service, parts, the whole deal? What is that? What do you see as the either impetus or the advocacy element that Subaru's adding to that?
So I think it's a couple of things. First, I think it's the people, right? So in order to create an incredible customer experience, you have to be also, I think it was Chad or someone said, maybe it was you, Jack, who said how important it is, like the retailer is my customer too as an OE, right? So we have to treat our customer in the way we want them to treat their customers. So I think there's that. That's like foundation, but I think it's bigger than that. I think at Subaru, we recognize and understand that we build incredible products, but we don't build products for product's sake. We build products to help people live the life they want to live. And so when we continue to realize that the hero of our story is never going to be the product, the hero of our story is the life that our customers get to lead and experience because of the product that we have created. I think that that's why you start to feel that, because our biggest excitement comes from the way our products are used across our different customers. And are they giving our customers the freedom, the adventure, the safety? They're taking their newborn babies home from the hospital. Are we making them feel safe during that time? So I think it's really understanding that our product is incredible, and the engineering that goes into it is absolutely, from my opinion, unmatched. But at the end of the day, it's not a product for product's sake. It is a product for people. And I think that that's what you feel back from the people who love their Subarus so much, is that they love that we are focused on them more so than the product. Does that make sense?
Totally. And I guess I would say, to add from the previous experience of Toyota, Scion, and Lexus, I looked at it through 3 Ps. There is the people, the product, and the process. And you can put them in any order: people, product, process. And they go perfectly in balance. They have to work together. And when they do, it creates more than a 1 + 1 = 2 or 1 + 1 + 1 = 3. It gets you an extra multiplier. But the fact was, the people portion of this, which is so focused, is the dealer, because the dealer is actually delivering the experience directly to the customer. So we have to give them, and I don't care if it's Ford, I don't care if it's Hyundai, I don't care if it's Subaru or Toyota, it doesn't matter. It matters that the OEM provide the best people, the best processes, and the best products, so the dealer can deliver to the customer. And if they do it well, the loyalty happens because of all those things being in the right balance, and the balance needs to be, to the best of your ability, 100%, 100%, 100%. Right? You balance it at everything being maximized. And that's where I do think some brands have exceeded other brands in it, because of keeping this focus on that dealer delivering it, and then delivering those people, product, and processes.
Fantastic. We haven't heard from Anthony in a while, and I know advertising is part of reinforcing that brand message, whether it be a dealer group, dealer brand, or series of brands. How do you think that works towards great customer experience? In advertising, do they share any of that? Obviously you work with the OEM and the dealer. How does that get illustrated?
Yeah, I think it shows up in 2 ways. I think it shows up in how you represent your brand and your dealership through those commercials. I think it's very easy to talk about price and payment, but when you can get out and talk about who you are as a dealership, what you're capable of, what your value is to the community, what those P's are that Jack just talked about, that you bring, how great your people are inside your dealership, how great your process is, then you're telling the story about the value you bring. So I think when it comes to advertising, all of that can be illustrated through the story you tell about your dealership. And we see great dealers do that every day and win from that. And I think the other P that I would throw into it, to add on to Jack's point, is preparation. And I think one of the things we try to do with every dealership we work with is understanding what their needs are, preparing before we go in. And what is the current trend in the industry? What is the current trend in your backyard? What are you facing as a dealership every day? And if you show up prepared, that makes that customer experience that much better. And I think dealers can do the same. Think about those people that are coming into your dealership every day, and how are you preparing for them, whether it's having coffee ready, understanding what their vehicle's already been through, so when they arrive, you know how to treat them better. Those are the things that I think help drive that experience to a degree that goes above and beyond just what that customer is expecting on that given day.
Fantastic. So obviously we were talking about the first visit doesn't do loyalty. And I think we talked a little bit on the show on the service side of the house with service calls last week, or I think, or a couple weeks ago. And we compared a little bit to restaurants. But when you're looking at loyalty, especially in these days with service being maybe not as often as it was in the past, let's start with Chad on this. Why is service department so important in terms of to CX, in your opinion, like the experience there?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Service intervals are getting a bit less, especially with EVs, but it's still the most frequent touch point that the customer is going to have with your dealership. And it's where we care for the asset that we sold them. So if you can take care of them when they come in, make them feel that their car is still special, don't throw a handful of insults at it as it's up on the lift, but hey, you're taking really good care of this car. We put a lot of energy and focus into our video MPI process to make sure that we're pointing out the good in the car, as well as where some of those preventive maintenance needs or repair needs may be. But this is the car that they bought. If they didn't buy it from us, which we hope they did, even if they bought it elsewhere, it's a source of pride for them. When you take your car in for service too, this isn't generally a fun experience that people are greatly looking forward to. It's a little bit more like taking your kid or your pet to the doctor or the vet for a checkup, or worse yet, they're not feeling well. So if we can show up emotionally for that customer, support them through it, make it easy. Anthony, you brought up preparation. That's such another key point here. In the appointment setting process, customers will tell us, a good deal of information about what that car is coming in for. If in our case, we have a central BDC that sets a lot of those appointments. If that customer shows up and they have to start the narrative from scratch, it really sets us back.
Fantastic.
So, I'm sorry.
Fantastic. No problem. Go ahead. Jack was just jumping all over the place. It's all good.
Oh, my bad. It might be the storm that's outside here.
No worries.
If we can start that customer on the right foot, where even if it's a call the day before they come in, to reevaluate their needs, make sure they know what to expect that day, and then deliver on that expectation, the whole process goes exponentially smoother rather than getting there and starting over. So I really double down on the prep piece and the importance there.
Fantastic. So Amy, I mean, obviously service is probably the second, third, fourth touch point. I know we talked a lot about touch points. How do you think that why do you think that's so important for customer experience?
Well, I think, I want to come back to a couple things that Chad said.
Yeah.
That, it is, even earlier on, one of the first things you said, Chad, I think, was around trust. And I think that it's in those service appointments that you really, really get a chance to build trust with the customer. I love the comment about video MPI, right? Because it's such a transparent way to show customers exactly what's going on with their vehicle. And I think it gives you this opportunity to really show them how much you care about them as a customer and at the life of that asset. Because, the sale is exciting, right? Of course it is. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, the new car, and you get that feeling and you get to go home. And then the reality is that new purchase is going to need some care and feeding, right? And you want to make sure that when that happens, that they, don't think twice about it. If they're going to get their car maintenance done, you want them coming back to you at retail, right? It shouldn't even be a consideration. It should be, I trust the place I bought the car from so implicitly, clearly I'm going to take it back for maintenance. And then when you have that maintenance experience, making them feel respected and that you're very trustworthy, I think it then becomes the natural thing of, if my car does have an issue or a repair, clearly I'm coming back here again. So I think that that's where the bulk of the relationship growing actually happens. I talked about that first interaction. That might be the sale, which is exciting. It's kind of like the first date, right? Like, oh, it's a first date. But after that date, you don't know if you want to keep, do you want to get into a relationship with this person? You don't quite know, right? Oftentimes it's that like second or third interaction where you're making a decision. And so service, I think, are those second and third interactions. And those are the moments when customers are determining if they want to stay in a relationship with you. So to me, I think that that's why service is so important. And if you think about it, I mean, at Subaru, we are so proud of how long our customers keep their cars. I mean, we've got customers with 300,000 mile badge stickers on the back of them. So that service relationship ideally is going to last for a long time as well.
100%. Yeah, I love the analogy to dating. I remember when I sold cars many years ago, I always used to preamble that. I'd say, listen, you made a list of the features you want. Now you're looking at options. So where are you in that process? It's going to take some time to go through that. And I'd always compare it to that. Like, here's a wish list. Now what can I actually accept and that kind of stuff. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Jack, I mean, obviously service is important, especially when you're have a manufactured product that's a lot of moving parts. I mean, what do you think there on the customer experience side of service?
Most important. It is just, I mean, you come into that service drive, you think about it. You're not showing up at the service drive usually for like, because you're just thrilled about your day. You're showing up on a service drive because you either know you need a maintenance done, or you end up taking time out of your day, or you got an issue and it's taking time out of your day. That experience and how that person comes to deliver their baby, maybe, that feels like it's a part of their family, and it brings it in. And if they're not treated well, they're like, well, it's an immediate turnoff. I mean, it's immediate time to leave. But you have also this opportunity to solve someone's problem, or to jump into their pain and help them through their pain, whatever that is. And so I look at it, it's immensely important. It's the most important. I still think it's the most important department in the dealership. People are coming in all the time. And if you hire the right people and processes, again, you end up being able to be such a benefit to somebody. It's such a gift that you have a chance to when you think about, if you have a problem with your house, your plumbing goes out, you need someone to help you. You're asking for that. When they come out and service it, make it right, you're thrilled. You're like, you're taking burdens off. And I just look at the customer drive, the service drive, is taking someone's burden off, taking it for them, fixing it, giving it back to them, let them go and breathe easier. And I think that there's so much value there that I think we do put an extreme amount of importance on it, and it's still not enough.
Yeah, I mean, we did a show on mobile service a while ago, and there was a stat that someone said that was kind of crazy. When a customer is looking to service their vehicle, they have 17 other choices in any given market in North America versus their dealer if they so choose, because of the amount of third-party service departments. But I know, Anthony. Go ahead.
The other stat too off that from that show was, it also said that if you can get a customer in for 2 service visits and take good care of them, you've got an 80% chance of selling them another car in the future. I think that's pretty important. So not only is service important to get them in just for the business side, but for future sales, and it ties right into what Amy was talking about with loyalty. So you've got to get them back into service. You got to take good care of them, because that's going to help you with selling them a car in the future. Yeah,
I mean, Anthony, do you do any advertising for dealers on the service retention side? I know it's kind of the overlooked department in a lot of ways. Do you have any discussions around that with dealers and manufacturers? Yeah. And is that something they're really focused on these days?
Yeah, I think traditionally it's not a major sort of commercially driven strategy for automakers and even auto dealers. There's no co-op behind it, so on and so forth. But it is such a key piece of the brand, especially at the dealership level. And I think of service in a simple way, really. I think it's one of the best organic marketing tools a dealer has, because to everybody's point, when you go in, you have that anxiety. What is that sound? How much is it going to cost me? If you leave with a really good experience and a really good feeling, it's human nature to want to go tell people about it. So I went in, I was nervous. I thought this was going to cost me a fortune. Now I'm out and I'm telling my neighbors, I'm telling my friends, I went here, I had a great experience. They fixed my car. It didn't cost what I thought. And now it becomes this organic marketing tool. So yeah, we always encourage people, promote the service drive because it's a great way to differentiate your dealership. But at the same time, if you do a good job there, you can create a valuable organic marketing tool.
Thanks for that. Now a quick word from our sponsors. 1 second here. Here we go.
If you look at the last 4 years again, we've answered 41 million phone calls for dealers over the last 4 years with our AI platform. We've also handled over 150 million text messages. And so when you look at just those raw numbers, that's a 4-to-1, 3.5, 4-to-1 text to phone call. So I don't know. Here's what I can tell you though. I believe that the customer wants to be met where they are presently. If that is text, voice, video call, if they want to be engaged instantly.
I'm Vince Delmonico, General Sales Manager with Cruise Ford Lincoln. Larry Feldman came out and did one of our training courses. Absolutely incredible. I sat through the course myself. The engagement that our salespeople gained from it, the excitement that he brings, it was a new way of looking at things that we're already doing and how we can improve them. Love it. It's literally the best thing since sliced bread.
My name's Fareed Ahmed. I'm the founder and CEO of DSMA. So why should you use DSMA to sell your most valuable asset? The answer is very simple. It's our unparalleled approach to our clients' needs and satisfaction. Remember, DSMA, we're real people doing real deals.
Meta, Instagram, social, and your team is still waiting for ups like it's 1999. Let's be honest. Your market isn't watching TV commercials. They're double tapping and engaging with your competitors on social media posts. People are shopping these days for cars and servicing their vehicles in between watching cat videos.
Thanks very much. So when we're looking at it, and a special thank you to Fareed, or congratulations, he's speaking at NADA 2027. So if you're going to be at that event, Fareed does advising you how to sell or buy dealerships. So if you're interested. So Peter, let's start with you. I know we talk a lot about employees and retention. We did probably one of our most attended HR shows ever on recruiting and keeping technicians. And we know happy employees are part of that. How important do you think is happy employees on the customer experience side in automotive?
Well, it's interesting because that's some of the notes I wrote down, because all of the guests started talking about relationships, building relationships, and building relationships with customers. The thing that I think is so critical in this whole overall process is we've got to build good relationships with our employees. I believe employee retention today is one of the top things dealers need to focus on, because we take good care of our employees are going to be happier. They're going to have a better quality of life. They're going to be loyal, which is a hard thing to see in any business today, but they're going to be loyal. And that will then convey over to all of the customers. So it starts, in my personal opinion, by having good customer retention. All starts with having good employees, because that's the face of your dealership. Whether it's the person answering the phone, to the service advisor, to the salesperson, we have to make sure our team is happy, they're successful, and we're taking good care of them. Because if they're not happy, they're not going to do a good job in building the relationship with the customers. More importantly, they're not going to be there in the future. And that's going to hurt your long-term loyalty and relationship with your customers.
Yeah, we are doing another show on technicians. So if you're curious, that's coming up later this month. Amy, what do you think about employees? I know, the Subaru experience and, relationship with the OEM and the dealer and the employee. What do you think on the CX and employees? How important do you think that is?
I think it's critical, because I think just think of yourself as a consumer for a moment and walk into any store, right? You can immediately sense the culture of that store. Like, you can tell when people are happy to be at work. You can tell when there's an engaging atmosphere. And I don't think I'm unique in saying that those are the types of companies that I want to do business with, whether it's a local restaurant or a dealership or whatever. When you come in and you get the impression that people are happy to be there, you can tell that they are, bantering back and forth with each other. You can just get that feeling that there's a good atmosphere. It's like if you went to a party, and you went to someone's house, you want to go into the house and immediately want to start talking with everybody and getting to know everyone and sit down on the couch and have conversations. That's the opportunity that dealerships have, right? Is to create that environment where everybody wants to come in and be a part of the conversation. So I personally think it's absolutely critical. A good environment at work is going to immediately create, I think, the multiplier. Whoever said that also about just the multiplier, it's it just multiplies that culture and that experience out to the customers that are coming in to do business with you. Fantastic.
And we had a question from the audience. How can a dealer build a better relationship with a customer and the OEM? How does, what were those conversations like? Either whether Amy or Jack or Chad wants to speak to that. How does that relationship get better? From, how can you really influence that OEM or that customer? Whoever wants to start.
From my perspective, and I don't know that this is always the case, but I hope that the OEs realize that how critical the retailer is in this experience, because the point of sale and the point of service interactions with customers are going to happen at retail, period. So I think that part of it is also maybe if the relationship isn't great, being willing to have a difficult conversation and try to understand why that the case, because I just think that if an OE doesn't understand how critical the retailers are to the business, I think that's a bigger problem. So I think ultimately the retailer, in my opinion, is the single most important part of this process, right? Because they are the one who has the relationship with the OE and they have the relationship with the customer. So I guess maybe just understanding how critical that role is, and then being willing to have open conversations with your partners and the people in the OE if the relationship for some reason isn't the way you want it to be.
Fantastic. And I know Jack can speak to this interestingly since he now owns dealerships, but go ahead, Jack.
Well, I think the critical piece here, if you're talking about it being a two-way, right? So between the customer and between the OEM and that dealer, I would say it has to do with listening, but listening for understanding. And this is what I mean. You have to be able to listen to what that customer is saying or the OEM is saying, but beyond just the words, like what does that thing mean? And so the way to do that is to ask better questions. So my big element here is, and it doesn't matter if you are a dealer, ask the OEM the deeper questions, more questions, get the clear understanding. Ask the customer deeper questions, more understanding. It's listen for understanding. And I think the way to build the relationships and the trust and the words we're talking about here, loyalty, is spend a lot more time listening. That most customers, most OEMs, they'll do the work for you. If you listen well, ask the right questions, you don't have to sell. They'll sell themselves. They'll give you all the information, all the things that you need. But it's too hard. We get so excited, and I get excited too. You want to sell. You want to say, this is what we're about. This is what we do. But if you listen for understanding and ask those good questions, it takes care of itself, and it makes the job a lot easier. And it's not just about happy, than happy dealerships or happy employees. It's contented. It's confident. There's these other words that come out from it. And I think that's what we should be pursuing, especially for the customers and the OEMs if you're a dealer.
Fantastic. Chad, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I think Amy and Jack both really nailed it. The other piece that I would add to that is when you are navigating a challenging situation with the customer, don't make them feel like they're in between two opposing forces, but both to be the advocate for the customer and working towards a solution, whether that's a warranty issue, whether that's, we've all navigated these things before, but the worst case is for the dealer to be pointing at the OEM and saying it's not us, or vice versa. The less visible that we can make the behind the scenes process to the customer, the better I think it works out for both the customer, well, all three, the customer, the dealer, and the OEM.
Fantastic.
But real quick, because Jack, you said something, and then Chad, you said something that made me think of it too. I think it is also just assuming good intent on both sides too. Like, I loved your comment, Jack, about listening and kind of asking, but I also think sometimes it can be like you feel like you're caught in the middle, maybe as a retailer, but I also think assume good intent on both sides, right? Assume that the OE has good intent, assume that the customer has good intent, and then try to listen for why things don't feel like they're in alignment. Because at the end of the day, everyone is probably doing the best they can in that circumstance, and having a little perspective from the other side, I think, can get you to a better place of understanding.
I'm chuckling because I have this little, I don't know, I guess moniker when I go to speak at different places and do different things. I'll say, well, who's the most important in the chain? The customer, the dealer, or the OEM? The answer is yes. And each one of them thinks of themselves as the most important. I hate to say it, but that's what it is. And when we can get to the point where wherever you are in those three chain lineup, if you can think of the other two as more important than yourself, it works phenomenally. So if it's the OEM can serve the other two, it's great. If the dealer can serve the customer and the OEM, great. If the customer can actually understand that the other two are most important to help them with their issue, it always works. So can we actually think of it as the other two are more important than me? Let's serve them. It always works.
Fantastic. We have a comment from Steve Cherney from NADA. He's got a workforce study data that he's going to be sharing. So if anyone wants the workplace study data, feel free to reach out to the show, and I'll happy to get that for you from Steve. Go ahead, Peter. What's your thought? Or actually, we haven't heard from Anthony. What's your thought on happy employees?
Yeah, I think a happy employee is the reflection of your brand, right? And it's that conversation is so interesting because the OEM wants the dealer to reflect the values and the brand that they've created at their level, and then the dealer sitting there wanting their salespeople and their techs to reflect the same thing back. So when everybody is listening and working together and understanding the customer's need, that brand can resonate and they can feel. That's why Subaru and Toyota have such great brands, such great brand loyalty, because that is felt from the OE all the way down through the sales technician. So I think it's important to understand that all of those people being aligned creates a better brand experience for the customer, which ultimately leads to a better customer experience.
Fantastic. So obviously there's always problems, what I like to call challenging opportunities. There's obviously, we talk a little bit about process. And let's start with Chad on this. I mean, if you were to fix one CX problem that Holman is facing right now, which one would it be and what would you start with?
Oof, it's a little bit of a loaded question. There's a few that pop to the top of my mind, but in general, I think we need to get the basics right. And Holman has spent a lot of time focusing on that. And frankly, there's days where we stumble onto things where a basic was missed. You know, our people work really hard to get those details right. But I think there's so many opportunities that are coming in through, certainly walking in through our doors, but before that, coming in through our phones. Those are going to be deep funnel leads. Those are going to be customers who are with an emerging service issue, or maybe their car's in service. And I'm not sure how many dealer groups out there are as maniacal as we are with measuring that. But before we started measuring it, we would hear hints of problem areas. Couldn't get through to my service advisor, didn't get a call back. Once we started measuring it, it really opened our eyes to, both the challenges that customers were having, but even more so the opportunities where if we could overmanage those inbound phone calls and those inbound messages, the results were outsized. So I would say that's one of the basics. Answer the phone, greet people when they walk in the door, show them with a smile, call them back when you say you're going to.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get some of these things right. Four Seasons has a saying that I love, which is get it right, get me right, and wow me if you can. So the get it right is the basics. Get me right. If you can remember me, call me by name, remember our last interaction, even better. And then wow me if you can. If there's an opportunity to come in with a surprise and delight, let's go for it. But don't start there. Focus on those foundational basic servicing principles. And that's where the big wins are.
Fantastic. Let's go with Jack next on that. What do you think? What do you think dealers should fix first? What's the big problem going on there?
It's kind of interesting because this is going to sound weird, but I don't really have a specific answer. I'm going to tell you why. Every dealership has unique challenges that are going on each month, each week, and it changes all the time. So for me, I don't like to focus on one area. I like to focus on people. And my element is how are we doing a good job of empowering our people, whether it's at the dealership level, at the OEM level. Again, it's the same thing. Is how are we empowering our people to give them the greatest opportunity to perform their service, whatever that is, whether it's a service drive, it's a tech, it's a salesperson, F&I manager, it doesn't matter. How are we, whoever the we is in this case, empowering our people to do their best? I think that to me is the customer experience. It's solving problems before they happen, because of having those people so prepared and so feeling so empowered, they can get it done. They know what the right thing to do is, and we got to do a better job of empowering them. That's what I personally want to work on. I would challenge each of you and all of us in this as an industry. This is the greatest industry. Auto industry is the most phenomenal industry, and how we can prepare our people to treat others better is the way to go. And I think it's a little bit more about character and how we develop the people in their character than it is about their skill sets.
Fantastic. Amy, I know we talked a little bit about voice of the customer in the past, and I know you're really on tune to that. I mean, what do you think on that is the glaring thing that dealers really need to focus on from a customer point of view?
I loved both Chad and Jack's answer. So ditto to both of you, and I'll take a slightly different take on this one, which is to say that I think that it's also very important to remember that challenging circumstances and difficult times can actually breed huge opportunities. So I think sometimes when we think about the customer that is completely overwrought when they come into the store, or seems like they're going to be inconsolable, that you're never going to be able to make them happy, those people can oftentimes turn into not just your biggest customers, but your biggest advocates. Because I think if we all truly think about some of the most incredible customer experiences we've had, it wasn't necessarily when everything was going right? It was a time of crisis or something when a brand stepped in. And I could tell you a story about being stranded and needing to get my literally au pair home for her mom who was flying in from Germany. And the person on the line, it was JetBlue Airlines, I will tell you, literally saying like, I'm going to get her home today. Let me figure this out. And that was like storms everywhere. And we didn't care about the rest of us, but she just understood that she was terrified for her mom to land in a country that she didn't speak the language of. And having that woman say, we're going to get her home. Like, let's look at all of the possible airports and options. I tell this story to everybody, right? Because it meant so much in that time. So I think it's important to remember that what seems like the biggest challenges in front of you on any daily basis can be your biggest opportunities.
Love that. Yeah. I mean, airlines are a classic example of, I guess, doing right and doing wrong more than anything else. I mean, you see that on a daily basis. Anthony, I mean, obviously you deal with customers in all kinds of different situations. I mean, what do you think on the customer experience side?
Yeah, I think this is a unique time because we're in a world where we're beginning to give a lot of our customer experience and leaving it up to automation and efficiency and tools. And I think that's great. That creates a lot of ease for a lot of people, but it doesn't always create ease for the customer. And I think it's important that there are moments in time to stop, pause, and take the extra time, put the extra effort into building that relationship, having that direct connection so that you can solve problems for those customers. And I think that's a unique challenge right now of how do you continue to move fast, utilize the volume that you can create with automation, but also create that unique experience so that person wants to come back to you and feels like they're a part of you and not just somebody who's going through the system.
Yeah, I saw a post, I think it was on the weekend, Ford Motor Company decided they had to hire back some engineers because the AI didn't do it the way they wanted it to be done, which I thought was kind of interesting. But Peter, what's your thinking on what problems should be solved first from a customer point of view?
Well, I think Jack kind of hit the nail on the head when we talk about listening. And it's not just listening to the customers and all those people. It really goes back to what we talked about, having good employees. Listening to the employees. And I don't want to sound like I'm always reverting back to take better care of our employees, but to me, a lot of times the dealers and top management don't listen to their staff and they don't listen to the teams. I think they had more meetings and talked about, hey, what can we do as a team to make things better? Even going into the service department, we talk about retention of technicians. I spent a lot of time with technicians last year. They're not happy back there, but no one listens to them. That was a common thing that they told me. No matter what store I was in, it felt like no one listened to them. So they could take anything away from what Jack said. I'm just going to bounce off what he said. If you really want to improve that customer experience, focus on listening to your team and making sure that they're happy so they could then do like Amy said, present a happy face and do the things they need to do to make the customer experience better, because that's what's going to build the long-term customers.
And I also wanted to obviously put in a plug for CX Auto 2026 in Detroit. If you wanted to hear more from panels of experts on this topic, obviously it's going to be in partnership with Automotive News. So if you can get your tickets, the details will be below in the description. And that's CX Auto 2026, September 28th in Detroit. So there will be more details there. But now we got time for final thoughts. I mean, obviously you're speaking on CX, everyone on this panel. What are you hoping to get on speaking about CX, Amy, at the event? What are you hoping to learn?
I think you and I were chatting earlier about this. I just love how connected this conference is to the retail experience, because again, I just cannot say enough that point of sale and point of service is going to happen at retail. And so when we talk about customer experience, that doesn't happen without incredible, retailers. And with happy employees, like Peter said, but the whole entire ecosystem. So I'm personally most excited to just have the opportunity to kind of be a little bit more, I work on the OE side. I love an experience where I'm going to get even more interaction down to the retail side of the business for this one.
Thanks very much. And Anthony, obviously you're not a retailer, but what are you hoping to get on the customer experience side?
Yeah, these events are always an education for me. And I think my job is to help communicate everybody's brand value out in the marketplace. So it's important that we go and learn what do OEMs need, what do dealers need to be able to effectively reach their consumers, make them feel good about their brand and want to tell their story. So I get so much out of listening and understanding what are the challenges that the auto industry is facing, and then how can we help communicate the value that all these partners bring to help solve those challenges for consumers. So it's a great opportunity for me to, while we'll be talking, to also sit back and listen and gain some perspective.
Chad, what are you hoping to get from a customer experience from the experts on the panel and the experts in the audience?
Yeah, for me, it's about practical advice that you can take home and start working on right away. From people who have walked down that path, maybe a little ahead of where we have. What results are you seeing? What I love about automotive is there are so many dealerships around the country. A lot of things have been tried and tested, and things have been learned. And I think, the assembly of people that are present at this event, you can really learn a lot from what has been done. This isn't a theoretical kind of thing. Sure, there's forward-looking elements of it, AI. But really, what are you doing with AI to improve things today? That's what I look the most forward to, is hearing from other folks that are in the thick of it, what's working and what's not.
Fantastic. Jack, what are you hoping to learn at CX Auto 2026?
CX Auto Congress, learning, all these words come together. I think I'm excited most of all is continuously realizing that even though I've been in my whole career, that there's still only a very little that I know. There's a lot more to learn. And I love being with people and the entire industry. I guess ultimately it is, I want to be able to continue to push on how can I help dealers. The dealers are the lifeblood of the auto industry. They drive the communities. I want to help more. I want to be a concierge to them. I want to do whatever I can to assist them and the business itself. So I'm going with completely reminded that for as much as I know, there's a ton I don't, and I want to be able to learn it all so I can help more people.
Fantastic. Peter, never been to CX Auto yourself, and neither have I. So what are you hoping to learn?
Well, I'm excited about it because I've been to tons of different events, and this one, from what I understand, is totally different. It's not vendor focused, it's not salesy. So there's no saying like, stop learning, stop earning. I am so excited to go and just learn from the experts that are going to be there and just hear them talk. And because it's not going to be focused on trying to sell anybody. It's just going to be honest conversations, great training. And really, I expect, just like today, I literally have 2 pages of notes from the stuff that I heard from everybody today. And I'm so impressed with this panel and so excited to meet you all in person and see you out in Detroit. And thank you so very much for being part of the show. I don't know about everyone else out there. I learned a lot today. And once again, thank you for contributing and sharing so much great information.
Yeah. Special thank you to everybody. Looking forward to seeing everyone at CX Auto in Detroit in collaboration with Automotive News and the Congress. Obviously, the show is about getting better one show at a time. So that's my purpose has been for many years. And I have always found that CX, or customer experience, is part of that. But more importantly, beating up that, delusion that an auto experience has to be bad. I think at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be bad. And actually, it can be award-winning. I think we've heard on the show many times about Suo Automotive Group, but there's a number of other groups that are really taking that experience to the next level, whether it be a small dealership or a large dealer group. And I think really you get what you focus on. Look at those challenges, turn them into opportunities, and more importantly, communicate with your staff. I think it's Virgin Airlines where he talks about, train your staff so well that they don't want to leave. And I think at the end of the day, that was probably the funnest The funnest safety video I've ever seen on a plane in my life, when I flew on Virgin Airlines years ago. He says, if we have to explain seatbelts, you shouldn't be on a plane. Like, if you don't understand those things, then you got a different problem here. And I thought that was hilarious. And clearly the people working there were having a good time. So at the end of the day, I think a lot of it, and the reason I've been in the auto industry so long, is it's interesting and fun and dynamic. But more importantly, there's no reason you can't enjoy what you do. And I think that's what I've taken from the call today. And the OEMs, I think, need to be able to laugh at themselves a little bit, because, you know, the dealers clearly laugh at all kinds of stuff. So I think that's also, it's you know, why so serious? I think at some point you've got to say, hey, it's about the customer, whether it be the dealer or the dealer staff or the dealership or the actual person buying or servicing the car, that really makes everything go. But thanks so much for taking the time today. We really appreciate it. Thanks everybody for watching. If you missed the show live, the replay will be up shortly, and we'll see you at CX Auto Detroit 2026. And Peter, where can they get more details on that?
www.cxautomedia.com.
www.cxautomedia.com, and that will be in the description below. And we'll see everybody next week. What's the show next week, Peter? I'm testing you again.
Throw me under the bus today.
Okay, no worries. There'll be more details on the show. We are talking about retention. We're talking about, obviously, silos next week. So if you're curious about service, sales, body shop, accounting, the silos that exist in auto, how do you tie those together and have better communication, better customer experience, and, of course, more sales and service revenue? Have yourself a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for helping the industry get better today live.